All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets today in the NBA as well as college basketball. We're getting one current good prop bet there, so I want to touch on that. But first, let's get into a quick recap from yesterday, guys. So yesterday, interesting day in general. NBA bets did not go well as a whole, definitely not, but ended up having a pretty good day in the NFL, especially on Underdog. Okay, so the bet of the day on Underdog ended up going 4 for 5 in total, which was very nice. That was the bet slip that I gave out to you guys. A little bit tilting because there was one over that we were waiting on that originally had been bumped to have the over. There's a stat correction that ended up making that bet slip go 4 for 5, but a nice flex it. Then on Sunday Night Football, we were able to go 3 for 3 on the bet slip there. The nice thing about it is instead of it being the traditional 6x, we had a slight bump there with Ladd McConkey getting over 4.5 receptions, which was a bet where the under was favored. Now, yesterday in the NFL, especially Sunday Night Football, was a day in which I was personally better than the books, which I actually don't like that. And then the NBA bets, the books were better than me. And so if you guys watched yesterday's video, that's why the NBA bets did not hit. And so today's bets, you'll see I'm trusting the data a little bit more today, and we'll get into that right now. And so we get into the PrizePicks cheat sheet as it sits right now. We are getting a lot of decent bets here today, guys. Jake Ferguson, if you guys like that, you can bet that under there. Nico Collins as well. Those are two better bets on Underdog. I already made a video for that. Hopefully you guys have already watched that. The first bet I want to talk about here is actually going to be Ryan Nembhard here. So we see that this is going to be a good bet for us. And let's talk about the reasons as to why. Nembhard, through 3 games thus far this season, has been able to hit this over in 3 straight games. If we look at the average sportsbook line, it has it closer to 30.5. So we are seeing that the PrizePicks data is a little bit too low. The projection data is giving him a line of 30.9, and then the edge in total is only going to be 53.6%. So I do want to call that out. The bets that we are getting today are not going to be massive edges. This is going to be a day in which I'm not going to be betting too much. But again, this is going to be a pretty good bet. We can see he definitely has been really dominating this over thus far this season, so we like that there. And then from there, we are getting another college basketball bet there. Danny Wolf to get over 6.5 rebounds. If you look at his last game, he really crushed the over, having 12 rebounds in that game. He's projected to get 8.2 there, so a decent bet there. We got Devin Booker to get over his assist of 6.4, another decent bet there. And let's actually go ahead and jump on into the NBA tab so we can take a peek at some of the projected minutes for some of these players. Now, Devin Booker is popping up for his over assists, which is one that I kind of find a little bit strange. You look at some of his per 36 production with Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant off the court, who are both listed out tonight. He only averages like 5.4. And given the matchup with Orlando, a game that's going to be a low-scoring game of 210. Now, it is a 3-point spread. That's nice. He should be able to get minutes. He might even get 40 minutes like he has been getting. And obviously, that would increase the likelihood of him getting his over. But he has just kind of been struggling. And it's been weird. And I just don't know if we need to be going in on him that much. And so it's definitely strange there. I don't particularly like that, but again, it's not a bet that's over 54% likely to hit. And that's kind of the issue today, is that we're just not getting that many good bets. Another one that I want to call out here is going to be OG and Anunoby. OG is someone where if we look at the fantasy scoreline, we're going to see that he has hit this over so much lately. And I'm actually a little bit confused as to really why Vegas is telling us to bet the under. The only conclusion that I can come up with is really the minutes are not going to be there in a game that's supposed to be a 14-point spread. So like him and Karl-Anthony Towns are 2 players where we're seeing the unders being heavily favored here. Okay, we look at some of the projected minutes here for OG. His minutes are expected to stay the same, and so is Cat's. And so, well, for the most part for Cap. And so that's a little bit concerning to me. And Washington's actually a pretty good matchup. It is a little bit of a head scratcher to me why Vegas sees these two as 2 options to potentially struggle. Now, this is early on in the day. We could see maybe these numbers adjust, and maybe we're actually going to be looking at betting the over. But I think this is the unders are being favored here simply because the games are projected to be below 14-point spreads. That would mean that Cap and OG probably don't get to their normal minutes, which is around 33 each. In games that are close, they get around 36 to 38. So that's a little bit of a concern. We're really just betting on this game being a blowout. Thus, Towns and OG only getting about 36 or 30 minutes in this game. The projection data does agree with the average sportsbook line for both of these bets, which I guess is a good thing. That's a plus for us. Again, don't particularly love these, but the data is telling us to bet on these. So we probably should be doing that. And then from there, we have Miles Turner to get his under fantasy score going against Toronto here. I'm actually kind of okay with that one just because he's coming in off of the back end of a back-to-back tonight, Miles Turner is. And so I could see a route where he doesn't get those minutes that maybe he got last night and maybe just struggles in the back end of back-to-back. I could see that happening. And then from there, like Paul George over rebounds, I'm okay with. It doesn't feel like one that we need to be going out of our way to target necessarily. The one player I want to mention is someone that we've been targeting a decent amount over the last 2 games, has been De'Aaron Fox. And that was because DeMar DeRozan was out. Now we get Sabonis going to be out as well. And I think De'Aaron Fox could end up going out and having another massive game. Now, I would argue that his points are probably correct now. Although you look at his per 36 production, and he is someone that should get 36 minutes in this game. He averages 39.3 points per 36, 5 rebounds, 7.6 assists, a massive 44% usage rate at about 58 fantasy points per 36. So I'm seeing that, and I'm like, all right, if he is going to be crushing his over points, we add on 12 rebounds and assists, might as well just do his over PRA, but at that point, I might just do his over fantasy score. It's a massive line, guys. It's a close game. It's a high-scoring game. Good matchup there for him. I do expect him to be able to go out and really have a great game. I just worry that this line has now been bumped to 33. Since this morning when it was 32, I was much more happy to do that bet. So I'm interested to see where the other lines come out to be, but I could see myself betting on his over PRA as it sits right now. This is probably, again, with him, a better traditional sportsbook bet than it really is anything else. Now, I do want to get into some other bets that I might like the opposite way of this game. Washington, obviously, again, they're projected to get blown out in this game. I think Bilal Coulibaly here is someone that could have a good game regardless. Like, he should still get run in a blowout. We don't have the fantasy score for him just yet. Just simply, I'm guessing there's not blocks or steals coming into his projection just yet, so there's not a true line that we have for him. But I could see, if this game stays close, him easily hitting that over. Again, this is a weird game where if the minutes are there, the game's not a blowout, a lot of the overs can end up hitting. The one other player that I want to talk about as well, especially in terms of fantasy score, is Jaden Ivey, and it's definitely an interesting one where, again, the average sportsbook line is liking the under here. The projection day is also liking the under here. I don't know. He gets a pretty good matchup there going against Chicago. I actually think the Chicago-Detroit game could be a game in which you end up stacking. Look at the DVP projection here, guys. So if we take his average minutes divided by the average points given up by Chicago times by his projected minutes, well, that's not a big difference. He ends up having 43 fantasy points per 36. And to me, this is one where I could see him just end up crushing this over as well. But again, nothing too crazy here to the point where I like we need to go out our way to target it. But if you guys are searching for more bets to maybe make it a 5 or 6 slip bet, this is one that I would be fine with. Again, tighter board. That's why I'm trying to go through some bets that I like maybe a little bit more than the board does, because, well, we're just not getting that many great bets. I know people just want to make bets for the day. And then, guys, just real quickly showing you guys the underdog board as it sits right now. Really nothing much going on there in terms of like EV bets that we are gaining there. So, the bets that I called out on PrizePicks will still apply for the bets on underdog as well. If you guys like those bets, you can place those there. So let's go ahead and get into the PrizePicks bet of the day then. Yes, Ryan Nembhard for over his fantasy score of 27.5. It'll be interesting to see if underdog comes out with any lines there on their site, so we can be able to compare to see if we're getting a massive edge there or not. And then, yes, just betting on this game being a blowout is the best bet. Now, if you guys are someone that bets on like Fliff potentially, maybe could toss in the Wolves not covering by 13 points. Bet the opposite of that. A little way to hedge this, because Washington, not a terrible matchup. And if they get their minutes, Towns and OG, they should be able to get this over. So it's certainly an interesting spot there that Vegas is calling out to us. And then this isn't going to be the official bet of the day or anything like that. I'm not going to keep this record for it. This is just a bet, my first bet that I placed today. I think it's fun to share to you guys on a slate or on a day in which we're not getting that many great bets right now. On a day that's probably going to be a low volume day for the most part. So again, Ryan Nembhard there. That one's, to me, like the best bet that we have on the board. And I do think Jaden Ivey, like point per minute wise, should be able to get that over. Good matchup there for him. Jakob Poeltl and Ben McMatherin. I like pairing these two together. If that is a good game, should be able to get there. Ben McMatherin gets a slight bump. Ben Shepard's going to be out, so that just should secure his role a little bit more. The issue with Matherin is a lot of his production is very much predicated on him scoring points. I can see why the data doesn't exactly love the same thing with Jakob Poeltl. Now, Quickly's out, Scotty Barnes is out, and in those games, Jakob Poeltl has easily averaged the over there. He averages 46 points per 36 with those players out the court. Danny Wolf, honestly, if I had to make a 2-slip bet, it'd be Danny Wolf and Ryan Nembhard there. Danny Wolf over 6.5 rebounds. Actually, I don't think I would hate the Demon bet for him, but I wouldn't say that's one we need to go out of our way. The demon bet's at like 7.5 right now. And then this was the best bet when I had placed this slip. Now there's obviously OG and Towns that we could include in there instead. So you wouldn't have to use this, but I wanted to make it a 6 slip bet. So that's just me showing you guys another bet that I personally ran out. You guys don't have to place that if you guys don't want to. And so that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out a bunch. If you guys want access to any of the tools that you saw in this video, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to those tools for just $10 a month. Take advantage of that, guys. All right, that's going to be all. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.